inspiring leaders, females joining me this morning as I beg to differ 2024. We are in the semi-finals, or if you're American by chance, the semi-finals. Well, we get into them very shortly, and we'll need to get some things done and dusted. The judges are listening. It's not going to be an easy one this morning. There's a lot of pressure. You probably heard it's 1 million naira at stake. My name is Jude. Welcome to I Beg to Differ. All right, so as always, we have a pair of students joining us this morning in the studio to talk to us, have a debate, battle, marshal out their points, and for you, the listeners, to also get engaged with us here on the conversation. Now, the two ladies, interestingly, will be battling for a chance to be at the finals on Monday, representing their school, themselves, and indeed all of womanhood. But let's start by saying hello to the ladies as we say happy International Women's Day to both of you. Good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning, sir.
Did you guys know it was International Women's Day?
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
did know. Wow. Let me ask you this trick question. When is International Men's Day?
March 8th.
Oh, my eyes on you. That's a what's your name?
Okey
Delight. All right, so she knew it was March 8th. My eyes on you. Keep my eyes strained on you. Anyway, so yes, this month also is going to be the International Men's Day later on. But before we get on to that, this is semi-finals. All right, I know a lot of people are tense. Your family, your friends are all supporting, and we'll get into that. But as always, please indulge me. Take a deep breath. Are you ready? Okay. Is the room too cold for you?
Yes.
It is? Okay. All right. So I'm going to oblige and have it turned. I'd increase the temperature, but I think maybe for the period you're here, turn it off. Okay. All right. Okay. It will go off. Trust me. It will go off. Okay. All right. So we'll have that turned off and then we'll get to you. So our first topic this morning is public universities should be tuition free in Nigeria. Public universities should be free in Nigeria. Irewole, Busayo, and Orji Delight are joining me. Who is supporting the motion?
I'm supporting the motion.
That is you, Irewole, Busayo, and Orji Delight. You are opposing the motion.
Yes, sir.
Now, you know the rules. The supporter of the motion is going to start with the opening argument, and then the rebuttal is going to begin with the opposer of the argument. All right. So the rules still remain the same. We have 3 minutes on the clock. All right. And we start with the supporter of the motion as Irewole Busayo. Miss, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
All right. And are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. Your 3 minutes on the clock starts now.
Good day, moderator, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, my co-debater, and my audience. My name is Irewole Busayo, a student of Wisdom Gate High School, and I'm here to propose the motion, public universities should be made tuition-free in Nigeria. Public universities are higher institutions that are funded by the government and open to the public. Tuition is the academic fee that students pay to attend a particular educational institution. It is usually charged per semester or per yearly basis. According to Chapter 2, Section 18, Subsection 3C of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution, states, government shall strive to eradicate illiteracy, and to this end, government shall, as and when practicable, provide free university education. I believe it's high time that public universities be made tuition-free in Nigeria with the following points of mind. Number 1, it helps Nigerians to have access to higher education, which can help promote equality of opportunity and reduce social inequality. The 36th President of the United States of America, Lyndon B. Johnson, once said, Education is the ladder of opportunity and it should not be denied to anyone. Number 2, it can help in economic development. If majority of the population have access to higher education, they'll be able to contribute to the economy through innovation, entrepreneurship, and the development of new businesses and ideas. Adam Smith, the father of economists, once said, "The extension of knowledge and the refinement of the art are the principal causes of the progress of opulence." Number 3, it reduces the financial burden on parents and students. The 2023 to 2024 academic section, Ignatius Ajuro University of Education's 200 level students pay between 60,000 naira and 90,000 naira in tuition fee, while those at Rivers State University pay between 70,000 naira and 150,000 naira. This amount applies to both indigenes and non-indigenes. Looking at this huge amount of money, parents and students would have used it to be able to cater for their basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter. Number 4, it helped them to perform better in their academics as they will be able to concentrate more and focus. Number 5, it reduces student debt. When people have access to higher education, they will not be thinking of the accrued debt they will have to pay back, and sometimes with interest, which may even lead to them having anxiety and depression. Lastly, it helps to increase the workforce. It addresses the issue of brain drain, as when some skilled workers emigrate out of the country will not be left handicapped, as there will still be more skilled workers left in the country. And this will help to fill the skill gap that exists in many industries. With this point stated, I believe, and I hope you do too, that public universities should definitely be made tuition free in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right, 2 minutes and 57 seconds on the clock. That was Busayo's opening salvo. We'll take a breather, and when we come back, we'll get to hear from Okey as she offers her opening salvo opposing the motion. Stay tuned.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The conversation continues in a moment.
Talk radio. 92.3 Talk radio. Number 1 talk all the time. Sports station.
All right, so welcome back to I Beg to Differ 2024. Don't forget, get on Facebook and on X. You get to see us, watch us, and also comment. Be part of the debate, all right? At Nigeria Info PH. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on those platforms, at Nigeria Info PH. But now let's get to listen to the opposer of the motion as she opens with her comments on the matter. Don't forget, our first topic this morning on debate is public universities should be tuition free. Busayo says they should be. But let's get to hear from Orji Delight. Ms. Delight, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, right. Thank you very much once again for coming through. I am going to reset the timer right now to zeros. But before then, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, deep breaths. All right, your 3 minutes on the clock. Start now.
Good morning, the moderator, impartial panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, my co-debater, and the entire audience. My name is Delight Okey. I'm a student of the Threshold College, and I'm here to vehemently oppose the motion which says that public universities should be tuition free in Nigeria. I'm a staunch advocate for the integrity and the sustainability of our educational system. A public university is a university that's owned and managed by the state. I would like to support my stand with the following points. Firstly, financial stability. When public universities require significant funding to maintain the quality of education, to pay for payment of faculty salaries, to invest in infrastructure, and to support research programs. But when tuition-free policies are made, there will be a strain in the government's budget, leading to lack of resources for other sectors such as infrastructure and social development. With the insincerity of our government towards education, how can we assure quality education to meet up with the global standards? Secondly, quality education. Introducing payment of tuition fees enables the universities to generate revenue. This revenue will be invested into the university to improve the quality of education, hire qualified personnel, and also to offer diverse programs. Without these tuition fees, there will be a decline in the education quality, and this would lead to other problems in the society. When there is a decline in the workforce, this would lead to problems like national debt. Thirdly, according to the UNESCO, it also states that the UNESCO recommends that 26% of the budget should be allocated to the educational system. But according to the International Center for Interrogative Research, it says that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu only recorded 7%, less than 7% of the budget. So how can we assure quality education in our public universities? Panel of judges, do we want a total collapse of an already failing educational system? I bet you wouldn't want that. According to an education economist, Professor Dr. John Doe, he says that implementing tuition-free policies without adequate planning could lead to a downfall of an education in higher institution. Thirdly, accountability and efficiency. When students pay their tuition fees, they will be actively engaged in their education and they could become stakeholders in their education, and they demand accountability from these individuals, that is the universities. Furthermore, there could be long-term implications on both the university and on the economy. Relying solely on the government to provide for their funds could lead to compromise in the academic structure, mean the sense that they will be solely dependent, but when they pay their tuition fees, they would be able to stand firm on their own and be able to make innovative research that will be important for them. With panel of judges, I know that you are able to...
Delight, thank you very much. Your time has just elapsed 3 minutes on the clock. We are going to take a breather. All right. All is not done yet because we still have the rebuttal phase coming up. Once again, at Nigeria Info PH. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X, where you can watch us live. We're about to listen to the rebuttal statement. They are writing their points, counterpoints, both of them preparing to give yet another round of engagements. And don't forget, this program is sponsored by Wigwe University.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The conversation continues in a moment.
It's almost time for school. Oh, not that kind of school. I'm talking about the kind that determines what the next phase of your life will be, where you will spend the next 4 years soaking in knowledge with young and ambitious minds who take fearless steps to become the next generation of African leaders. A school where state-of-the-art facilities help shape your future. A school where the lessons you learn echo beyond the walls of a classroom. So when it's time to write that life-changing examination, be sure to choose a university that sets you on the path to a secure future. Wigwe University, where the fearless make history.
Now open for admissions into the 2024-2025 session. Visit www.wigweuniversity.edu.ng for more information now.
Talk radio. 92.3 Talk radio. Number one talk all the time. And small station.
All right, so welcome back to I Beg to Differ 2024. My name is Jude Omamigbe, and we have in the studio this morning Busayo and Delight, and they are both arguing on the topic. Public universities should be tuition free. We've heard their opening salvo. It's time for us to get to have the rebuttal statement. And the rebuttals will start with the opposer of the motion, which is Delight. So Delight, I'm going to come to you once again. How are you doing this morning? Good. All right. So once again, try and get calm. All right. Deep breaths. Okay. And out. All right, so you have your points ready, and we'd like to give you a few seconds to gather your thoughts as we get prepared to listen to the rebuttal statement. Once again, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. You can stream and also be part of the conversations. All right, we'd love to have your responses and your engagement as we continue. But for now, the stage is set. It is Delight's time to rebut the comments from the supporter of the motion. So, Delight, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, and are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, as always, 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
Standing on the existing protocols, I still remain Okey Delight, and I'm still opposing the motion which says that public universities should be tuition free. public universities should not be tuition free, because it would breed an entitled mentality in the minds of these young adults, in the sense that they feel like everything is free, and this promotes valueless education. My opponent talked about the Constitution, but did you also realize that the Constitution says that free education is to the universal basic education level, that is to JS3. So from SS1, it is required that they should pay their tuition fees. And also, realize that university education is an advancement of their education, is an advancement of their learning, so they should be allowed to pay their tuition fees. And tuition fees will also enable the university to grow and promote infrastructure. You talked about access to higher education. We should to produce half-baked graduates that would not be able to defend themselves. Remember, half-baked graduates would lead to failure. Do you remember the words of Nelson Mandela? He said, "Patients die in the hands of such doctors, and buildings collapse in the hands of such engineers." So why should we produce half-baked graduates? It reduces the financial burden, but it also places a financial burden on citizens, in the sense that the tax rate is increased and it burdens them with so much pressure. You would say they perform better. In some universities we have in Nigeria, it says that they have a 200 level theater capacity hall, but here millions of people gather, thousands of people gather, and they will not be able to get the adequate knowledge. In Harvard University, it says that they have the 1 professor to 5 students, but in Nigeria, what do we have? 1 professor to thousands of students. You said it increases the workforce. How? When we cannot even produce standard graduates, we need to work on building a strong workforce in Nigeria by introducing quality education in Nigeria. In Chile, they also said that paying for education has caused national debt, and it has also reduced the investments they make in other sectors. We want to balance this, and we want to be able to build a strong workforce. We also talk about it leads to illiteracy, in the sense that the work of these professors will not be focused on one person, to be focused on a large audience, and they would not be able to stand firm on their own. I hope that with this cogent point of mine, you'll be able to see reasons with me why I say that public university should not be tuition free. And while the allure of public education may sound like a dazzle of hope, we should not be seduced by it. We need to scrutinize the rocky shores first before we get into this. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. 2 minutes and 43 seconds on the clock. A job well done. It's time for us to get to listen to the supporter of the motion and have rebuttal statements. Stay tuned. Once again, this is I Beg to Differ 2022, sponsored by Wigwe University.
Talk radio. 92.3 Talk radio. Number 1 talk all the time. And more station.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The conversation continues in a moment.
All right, Busayo is up next. She's in a sweatshirt. She's getting ready, had her points written down, listening very intently to her opponent. Miss Busayo, good morning once again.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, all right. So you're sat down beside me, so I do expect and anticipate that you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can.
All right, are you in a comfortable sitting position?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we're going to the clock right now. We're going to reset it. All right, 3 minutes. You can see it's at zeros. Once again, facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH is where you'll find us, and you can stream live and focus and interact, engage with us, and indeed with the students as they marshal out their points. So, Busayo, are we ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, 3 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
All protocols duly and respectfully observed. My name is Irewole Busayo, and I'm back once again for my rebuttals. I'm sure my opponents may be thinking that there are other fees that students pay. So how would removing tuition fee be a step in the right direction? Voltaire, a French philosopher, once said, "Don't let perfect be an enemy of good." Reduction in the cost of attending a university is a good step, even if it does not eliminate all costs. Secondly, my opponent said that it will lead to overcrowding of classrooms, but this is not as a result of free tuition, but rather as a result of poor funding and infrastructure by the government. According to a study conducted by the World Bank, it shows that Nigeria only invests 0.2% of its gross domestic product on the tertiary institution. My opponent also say, and I put it as misuse of limited resources, but the benefits that free tuition would have on the students and the country in the long run would outweigh the disadvantages. My opponent also said that it will make the students have a sense of entitlement and they will see it as a right, not as a privilege. But is it wrong for these students to expect the government to provide free tuition for its citizens? Is it wrong for them to be wanted to be cared for by the government of their own country? So yes, they can see it as their right because it is their fundamental human right, like I stated earlier in my introduction in chapter 2, section 18, subsection 3C. My opponent also said that it will lead to poor quality of education. But I don't see anything about poor quality of education because it doesn't affect quality of education anyhow, as the cutoff mark for these courses in the universities will still be the same. So how will it affect the quality of education? My opponent also said that it will lead in a decline in workers, but rather it would increase the workforce because so many people are going to be in school. Lastly, she said accountability. But really, what about the underprivileged children? If they don't have money for tuition, are you saying they are not going to be accountable? With this point of mine, I'm sure my learned opponents know about the economic situation facing our country. How would you expect them to cope if they don't have money for tuition fees in these public universities? I believe that this topic is one that is meant to be supported because public universities should really be tuition fee free in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. That was Busayo Irewole with her rebuttal statements. And yes, we're seeing some of the comments, some of the fires that we have been sending into the Facebook page. We will not put them up so nobody gets distracted. All right, the semifinals continue to follow us on social media and we'll give you the updates. Don't forget the big one is on Monday where we get to the final. But before we say our goodbyes to the pair, all right, it's now time for you guys to ease off. Okay, drop the pens. Okay, all right, great. All right, now let me start with you, Busayo. What would you like to do after you leave secondary school?
I want to be an accountant, and I also want public speaking and all this debate to be like my side hobby.
Okay, all right. So you like the idea of public speaking. You like the idea, speaking to a large crowd and, having debates. It's good because if you know anything about politics, maybe you don't know, that's how some of the greatest leaders were formed. They used to speak in public squares, give their arguments and stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, Orji, you want to be a doctor or something like that?
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Now, whilst that is great, let me ask you, have you ever heard of medical engineering before?
No.
Okay, all right. So when you go home, do a little bit of research. And I'm not saying that because there's money in it. I'm just saying, just in case your curiosity gets sparked and you want to try your hands at something, that's something that you can look at. Well, it's bottom of the hour. We'll say our goodbyes to the pair this morning. Wish you guys the very best. We'll give the judges about a minute or two to collate and we'll have the results. And after that, we have the second pair joining us for the second semi-finals in the studio. Once again, ladies, thank you very much. International Women's Day today. Hope you guys do something great with the opportunities presented to you and have yourself a wonderful time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll take a quick breather and then when we come back, the second pair will be joining us in the studio.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The conversation continues in a moment.
It's all talk and more talk on Nigeria's #1 talk station.
This country needs a marshal, needs a sheriff.
In some particular societies, especially in my tradition, a woman is not allowed to inherit land.
Issues that get your attention.
This thing has been carry over for the time of Jonathan.
Yeah.
And you continue this billions.
Your views against all odds.
My word is that why those pastors, why are they not following up their job? Like
The intense conversation.
It has to be given to her now based on sentiment. These are some of the challenges that women go through on a daily basis.
Okay, bro.
And that is
All and more on Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
I must say, some points made by my opponent are based on phobia of the social media.
Most parents even go to the extent of sending their children on an errand to go get them the drugs.
You've experienced the arguments and their counters. It is time for a new champion. I beg to differ debate returns bigger and better. 16 students have been chosen from across the city to battle their way to 1 million naira. These students will prove their debate mettle on a variety of topics live and stand a chance to win big and represent the region in the nationals in Lagos. First prize 1 million naira, second prize 500,000 naira, and the third prize 250,000 naira. Watch live on Facebook at Nigeria Info FMPH or listen live on radio. Date Monday 26th of February to Monday 11th of March 2024. Time 11 a.m. I beg to differ 2024. Brought to you by Nigeria Info. Sponsored by Wigwe University.
Here on Info, we give you a great bang of all. Local or foreign, we've got you covered.
Blackouts across Nigeria as national grid collapses.
The UN is warning of the consequences of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We are right on.
Nigeria Info.
Your #1 station for talk.
4 years ago, they told us we were consuming 60-something million. In less than 6 months, we increased it from 60-something million to 200 and something million. What were we doing with it? We're bathing with it.
On Talking Figures, we'll be talking business, crunching the numbers, following the money, and examining policy.
In policy communication, it has to be perfect. That's to say, during the policy communication, Nigerians would have known the day subsidy will end.
Expert views and opinions, informed analysis, and we'll take your thoughts too.
We've dollarized our economy, we've dollarized everything. Everything is now dependent on the vagaries of the forex market.
Oil and gas, forex, fiscal policy, business and the economy, it all comes down to numbers. It all comes down to money. Tune in to Talking Figures, Wednesdays 2 to 3 p.m. on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
So, we can run the numbers. When you divide $70 by 160 liters, you see how it will go down to cents.
Talking Figures.
All right, welcome back, 1903 Nigeria Info PH. My name is Jude. This is I Beg to Differ. We're getting the second pair to join us, but let me quickly share with you the updates. The judges have sat, they have sent their points across, I have collated, and boom, we have the results.
That at Wigwe University, highly knowledgeable and experienced professors are waiting to take you through the course of your choice in any of the faculties.
Our sponsor. So we have the results. Let's quickly get the breakdown right now. So the last round was between Busayo and Delight. The three judges unanimously give that round to Irewole Busayo. All right, so congratulations. What a keenly contested battle. In fact, one of the judges only could be split by 3 points. It's been a very, very tight period all through this debate. All right, very tight one. Congratulations to the winner of the previous round. It's time for us to get to the second round of debates. And we have a second pair in the studio joining us. It's the semi-finals, or if you are in America, it is semi-finals, but everybody here calls it the semi-finals. finals. And this time around is going to be between Emirald Handsome and Ebibokefie Megan. Both of them getting ready for their points delivery. We'll see who will get the final say in a few short moments. This is I Beg to Differ. So let's get to say hello to both of them. Good morning to you and happy International Women's Day.
Good morning, sir.
All right. Did you guys know it was International Women's Day?
Yes.
You knew? All right. Interesting. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this round. Now, so who is supporting the motion?
Emirald Handsome.
All right. Emirald Handsome. Yes, this morning they are supporting. They have their points ready, supporting and opposing the motion. Now, the question actually is a very difficult one. Poverty is not a solvable problem in Nigeria. Almost every day we get to hear excerpts about this. Well, let's hear what these young minds have to say about this. As always, you can follow us on Facebook at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH on Facebook and on X. Let's get to hear from Emirald C. Handsome, who is supporting the motion. Now, Miss Emirald, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going back here. I'm going to reset the timer. It's down to zeros. Everybody is good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Your 3 minutes on the clock starts now.
To my esteemed judges, moderator, co-debater, and my lovely audience, a good day to you all. I am Emirald Handsome of Jesus Offspring Modern International School, here in support of the undeniable motion that poverty is not a solvable problem in Nigeria. With your permission, may I shed more light on the bone of contention, poverty and solvable problem. A solvable problem is that which is capable of being solved or resolved, while poverty, according to Wikipedia, is a state or condition in which one lacks the financial resources and essentials for a certain standard of living. My points and details. 1. History. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., we are not makers of history, we are made by history. May I take us a memory lane? Please pay close attention. According to African Journal, by 1960, the poverty level in Nigeria covers about 15% of the population, and by 1980, it grew to 28%. By 1985, the poverty level was below 46%, and it reduced to 43% by 1992. By 1996, the Federal Office of Statistics estimated the poverty level in Nigeria at 55%. Now, 22 years later in 2018, according to a report from World Bank, more than half of Nigerian population is living below poverty line. Interesting, right? For more than 50 years, we still are remaining in the same cycle of solvent poverty, thus making it unsolvable. 2. Indolence. For years, Nigerians have been known with the phrase, "it go better," instead of working towards making it better. Well, remember, faith without work is dead. How can we solve problems of poverty when we have refused to get in positive political activism? 3. Insecurity. This is a major contributor to national poverty as businesses struggle to survive and investors elude Nigeria as we face different forms of internal security threats. Security budget is always on the increase when this can be used for poverty alleviation. What a hopeless situation. 4. Practical application of problem-solving skills. Identifying problem, generating possible solutions, gathering information, evaluating and solving solutions are basic problem-solving skills as we have been taught. If Nigeria have not effectively applied these basic skills for about 60 years, is it in the next 60 years they would? I don't think so. 5. Increased birth rate. This is another challenge to poverty, as increase in population makes it difficult to permanently eradicate poverty. What is Nigerian government doing to control birth rate, even in these hard times, as one would wonder if by action we are fighting or embracing poverty in this part of the world, because we obviously are not fighting it. So how can it be solved? 6. Education. Education is the greatest weapon against poverty, yet standard education is so expensive that even an average family find it difficult to afford. How can we claim to solve problems of poverty without education for all? What an irony. 7. Continued adaptation. Nigerian, instead of embracing the change, do quite the opposite. Imagine the $10 billion fine on Binance. What do you think other crypto exchange will do to Nigeria if not to discontinue business with them? I laugh at the idea of Nigerian poverty problem being solvable. Thank you.
All right, 2 minutes and 55 seconds on the mark, and that is the opening hour for Miss Emirald. It's time to get out for us to get to listen to Miss Megan, who is opposing that notion that poverty cannot be solved in Nigeria. Stay tuned.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The conversation continues in a moment.
All right, so welcome back. This is I Beg to Differ 2024, broadcasting live from the city of Port Harcourt. The studio is 92.3. My name is Jude Omamegbe. It's time for us to get to listen to the opposer of the motion joining me in the studio. Miss Megan, once again, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. 3 minutes on the clock. We get to the timer. We've reset to 0. Your time starts now.
The moderator, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, my co-debaters, and the audience, good morning. My name is Ebibokefie. I'm a student of the Threshold International School. I'm here to oppose a motion which says poverty is not a solvable problem in Nigeria. Poverty, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is a state of being poor or not having the basic necessities. According to the statistics, 40.1% of Nigerians live below the poverty line. In the words of a certain man, which is very renowned in South Africa, he said that overcoming poverty is not a thing of justice. Sorry, he said like overcoming poverty is a thing of justice. Now, one of the reasons why I'm opposing poverty not to solve a problem in Nigeria is because this idea breeds people to be engaged in more activities of violence against the country. We can see that if my opponent self on her own said that education is a very good way of fighting poverty, and I agree with her. We cannot fight poverty unless the citizens are educated. We must increase the amount of education in our country, Nigeria, and this can be done by the government and institutions fighting against it and increasing the amount of literacy and numeracy rates in the country. Also, I would like to say that we should invest in our healthcare, because if the people are not healthy, then people cannot work. So one of the best ways of fighting against poverty is by investing in the Nigerian healthcare system. Next, we can talk about job creation. If Nigerian government was to create jobs for the society, was to invest in small businesses or medium-sized businesses, we would see that the amount of poverty would completely depreciate. I fight against this stance because every single thing about that is making Nigeria to be poor can be changed. We can't just sit here and say that this is something that we cannot change. If you look at the corruption is a major problem that's attacking Nigeria, that it causes us to be more poor, that causes us to go down in poverty. But I have to say that corruption fight can be fought by the government at different levels, not just at the government level, even at different levels of the society, even in our civil offices. Every single office can fight against poverty in this country. When we look at the diversification of the economy, Nigeria can diversify their economy. We can go to different branches: tourism, agriculture. If the government was to provide better equipment for the farmers, or many other things, or even to we have natural reserves in Nigeria. Why don't we have tourism coming into Nigeria? There are countries that make their money almost solely off tourism. There are countries like China even that have plenty population, yet they managed to lift themselves out of poverty. There are countries like Germany that thought they were going to go down, but they managed to come up, lift themselves out of poverty. If so many other countries can do it, why can't we? We cannot give up as Nigerians. We have to be patriotic. We have to stand for our country. We have to stand for ourselves, for our rights, for everything we stand for. We cannot just give up because we have nowhere else to go. We are Nigerians and will always remain Nigerians. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. 2 minutes and 53 seconds on the clock. We'll take a breather. When we come back, the opposer is going to start with her rebuttal statement. Stay tuned.
Talk radio. 92.3 Talk radio. Number one talk all the time. And small station.
The details,
the stories,
with the updates.
Your number one station for talk brings it all.
Nigerian politics is more strategic. Even look at the presidential level, you see
IFA 2024, brought to you here on Nigeria Info and sponsored by Wigwe University. We get to the opposer of the motion, that's Ebibokefie, Megan. Megan, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to turn up your microphone. I'm going to go back to the timer. Reset to 0. 3 minutes as always. Your time starts now.
So in my original statement, the man I was speaking about was Nelson Mandela. And he said that overcoming poverty is not a thing of charity, that it's a thing of justice. Poverty is a man-made thing, so it can be fought by the actions of man. So my opponent said that we are not the makers of history, and because of all the times that Nigeria has gone up and down in poverty, that it is not going to be able to stand up again. But there are so many countries like China, Singapore, even South Korea. They're only, even if they do not have the resources, they were able to lift themselves out of poverty. We have so many natural resources in our country. How can we look around and say that no, there's no way we can fight this thing? It does not make make sense. And that's why I stand against this motion. Next, my opponent said that the increase in birth rate. I already fought this point before when I said that China, a country that has more citizens than us, more people in their country than us, has been able to fight against poverty. And now look at them. They are such a good and booming country. Even Nigeria is relying on them. So why can't we be like them? Why can't we change? We can change. I'm telling you, we can change. Also, today is International Women's Day, as we should know. And so we can also include women in this fight. This fight is not only for women to come and be fight. This fight is not for men to come and fight. We're not in a society where it's only men that will come and fight. But women, girls, they should be empowered to be able to fight against this poverty. Men and women should form synergy in order to be able to fight against the menace called poverty. Then my opponent also said we are not fighting it. But there are so many institutions, so many organizations that are meant solely to fight against poverty, to provide for those who do not have the amount of money or jobs to fight for themselves. So that statement does not stand. We need to be positive. My opponent even admitted that we need to be positive. My opponent, if you listen very well to her, she was not saying that poverty is not solvable. She was saying things that we have not solved about poverty. Everything she said, you can rebut it. You can simply say that we can fight this. Has increase in birth rate, we can fight it. Education, we can better our education. The government can invest in our education. Institutions can invest in the education. And we also need to invest in those that are around us, our homegrown goods. Instead of looking for other countries' goods, instead of going to another man's land to go and patronize his own goods. Then let's see. She also made an incorrect statement that more than half of the Nigerians are suffering from poverty. Now, it's not more than half. It's only 40% of the Nigerians. And we can reduce the amount of poverty that is faced here. We also need to understand that Nigerians have the capability, even in our small levels, we need to exercise more of our values in order to not, because if we ourselves cannot fight against the small things that are around us today, cannot fight against the small things we do wrong, how do we expect the government to fight against corruption or fight against their own impurities? We are all human beings. We need to understand and we need to fight against this thing together. Thank you.
All right, 2 minutes and 59 seconds on the clock. Done there by Mega. It's time for us to get to hear from Emirald Handsome. We'll be back after the short break.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The conversation continues in a moment.
All right, so Ms. Handsome, good morning once again.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, all right, so you know the drill. I have reset the timer. You have 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
Standing on the existing protocol, I still remain Emirald Handsome. My dear opponent, if we are on the same page, I rightly heard you mention the following. Invest in healthcare, job creation, corruption, invest in capital development, diversification of the economy. Before I counter these important points of yours, may we get something clear. It is one thing for a country to be poor or faced with poverty problem, and a whole different ball game as under development. Take for instance countries like United States, United Kingdom, France, Australia, Japan, and so on. They are known to be well developed, yet face problems of poverty, face serious problems of poverty for their great number of population. As statistics proves it, these points of yours centers on problems and solutions of underdevelopment and not solving poverty problem. Secondly, you mentioned diversification of the economy. What is the diversification of the economy? Well, What is the diversification of the economy when these same people who, for the sake of material things, sell their votes and rather suffer for 4 years for politicians whose children hardly reside in the country? This poverty problem cannot be solved. Furthermore, you pointed out invest in capital development. Well, that is a good idea, but what is an idea without proper implementation from both sides? And by both sides, I mean the leaders and the other parts of the population. The leaders who make promises and forget them when they resume office, only to remember them again 4 years later. Or the average Nigerians who, out of selfishness, put his need above others. If you closely followed the social media trend of late last year and early 2024, you would notice NAFDAC really battles fake products. I mean, fake edible products made by same people who complain of bad governments. This shows the lengths Nigerian could go for selfish gains. So, how can we solve problems of poverty together when we do not care for the health of one another? Dear opponents, as a fellow Nigerian, it saddens me to admit this bitter truth, that poverty remains and will always remain unsolvable, even in the nearest future. I still remain Emirald Handsome. Thank you.
All right, 2 minutes and 14 seconds on the clock. They have done justice with their opening and their report. Say our final hellos and goodbyes to them both. Megan, good morning. How are you doing? Okay, all right. So that was a very interesting one. It's a very tough topic you guys had to deal with, talking about poverty. I'm going to ask you one question each, all right, very quickly. Would you like to be the richest man or woman in Nigeria?
Everybody would like to be rich.
No.
Would say no.
Would you want to be the richest woman in Nigeria?
The richest woman in Nigeria? Probably, yes.
Do you think with that money you will be able to amass, you'll be able to help solve poverty?
Yes.
You think so?
Of course. I said institutions, but individuals can also help. The government can also do things. And poverty comes with underdevelopment. If society is underdeveloped, of course there'll be poverty in the society.
Okay.
So, of course, if I'm the richest
person,
I would love to help.
Emerald, you would like to be the richest woman in Nigeria?
Yes, sir.
You think if you had that kind of wealth, you'd be able to do good?
Yes, sir.
You won't buy shoes, buy hair?
No.
You sure? Buy new phones?
Let's look at the less privileged out there.
Okay.
Like people who have money, they feel they don't need to help the less privileged. But if I can be the richest woman in the world, I would help other people out there because they need to have a shelter. They beg for food. Why don't we look and concentrate on these people?
Okay, all right. So let's see in the future holds. Fingers crossed for both of you. I'd like to get to know that. I know the richest woman in Nigeria. But thank you very much, ladies. And we'll get to hear from the judges in another 2 minutes with the final results. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
This is I Beg to Differ on 92.3 Nigeria.